right, thank you, Ryan, and thank everybody for inviting me out here. So why are we here? For the last 80 years, our government has sponsored this Reefer Madness campaign. They've tried to brainwash society, tried to convince everybody that there's absolutely no redeeming qualities to cannabis. They've spent millions of dollars, billions of dollars, massive media campaign. They've arrested millions of Americans for marijuana. They actively stifle research into medical marijuana. They don't let patients get their medicine, and they prevent farmers from growing an environmentally friendly and profitable crop. They can't even grow hemp. So our government is doing everything they can to demonize cannabis, to demonize marijuana. Fortunately, despite their best efforts, more and more people are realizing the truth, and that's why we have so many people here today. Several states have decriminalized marijuana, including Massachusetts, where now it's just a parking ticket, basically, for less than an ounce. 16 states have medical marijuana laws, so a lot of states are passing laws, and a few states even have industrial hemp laws. So people are waking up. We're in on the secret. We know the truth. And it's up to us to let other people know this. That's what I want. I don't want to be preaching to the choir. I want to preach to the preachers. I want you guys to go out and help me preach. If we're going to reverse the effects of reefer madness, it's going to take a lot of work. And that's where the cannabis curriculum comes in. It doesn't matter what class you're taking, what subject, what field of study, you can apply it to cannabis hemp, to the benefits of cannabis hemp, or to the devastating effects that its prohibition has on society. And I'm asking, if you do a research paper, eventually I'm going to have people start sending me their research efforts, and I'm going to put it into this Cannabis Curriculum Clearinghouse, which is going to be a huge database of hemp and cannabis research that other people can access for their research. So, let's kick it off. Cannabis has been used by almost every civilization on Earth for thousands of years. It originated in China several thousand years ago, and it made its way from China throughout Asia, Africa, and into Europe. And we need to know more research. If you're a historian out there, you can do a history project on, what did the different cultures and the different societies, how did they use cannabis? What did they use it for? Obviously, they used it a lot for fiber, for rope, for paper, and for medicine. Or if you're a language student, you could study how all the different cultures, the different words that they came up with for cannabis and hemp. Or that's the Chinese symbol for hemp. And you can see it's like a shed with two hemp plants hanging upside down to dry. So it's a very symbolic symbol, and it makes a lot of sense. That's the Chinese symbol for ma, or hemp. So you could study the language of hemp. Or you could study how hemp was very vital to the entire colonization effort back in the 15, 16, 1700s. All of the rope and sails for all of the sailing ships was made out of cannabis hemp. It's amazing. Thousands of pounds of rope and cordage would go on a sailing ship. And you can go down to the Charlestown Navy Yard, USS Constitution's docked there. You can go on, check it out. It's really awesome. All of this rope now is made out of polyester and plastic, which is sad. But hopefully one day they'll start using hemp again. You can study how hemp was used in colonial America. There's a lot of different things you can look at. And in the 1700s, there was a British pharmacopoeia, a British medical journal, noted that hemp seed oil and cannabis root were very good for a lot of skin ailments. So we know that even back in the 1700s, they were using hemp seed oil and root, cannabis root, to treat skin problems. So you could study that, study how that was used by different cultures. Art history, if we have any art history majors, a lot of the old paintings that the masters painted on, the canvas was actually made out of hemp. And the paints that they used hemp seed oil in a lot of paints back then. So it's really awesome if you could document how cannabis was really a part of history, a part of art history. And then during World War II, after they actually made marijuana illegal in 1937, but during World War II in the 40s, Japan invaded the Philippines and they cut off our Manila hemp fiber supply. So we needed fiber for all the string and the rope and the cordage back in World War II. So they decided to let farmers grow hemp again for a few years. And that's enough seed to grow 350,000 acres of hemp, which is a lot of hemp. And so, you could document the World War II Hemp for Victory effort. So there's a lot of different hemp history, things out there for you to look at. So let's talk a little bit about the plant itself. If we have any biology or chemistry majors, there's so much you can learn about the hemp stalk. You know, we know it's got a lot of cellulose in it, and what you can do, you can use cellulose for so many things, as we'll see. You know, you can make concrete out of it, plastic out of it, you can make fuel out of it. But you know, we need to understand better what the contents of the stalk are made of, and the seed. You know, what makes that hemp seed so healthy? What makes it to produce such a good biodiesel? And recently, a company just sequenced the cannabis genome. I don't know if anybody read about that, but it was up in Marblehead, I believe, a company. And so we have all this data now for the cannabis genome that we need to look into and research and see if we can grow hemp that produces better quality fiber, or better seed oil, or better medicine too, because we can study all the cannabinoids in the hemp flowers, or cannabis flowers. So, you know, we got a lot of research in this area that could use some help in that area. Now, thanks to reefer madness, over 70 years of reefer madness, and hemp being illegal to grow, there's been no research and development into all the machinery that it takes to harvest and process hemp. So these are some of the old pictures, and unfortunately, the current technology is not much. It's a little bit better than this, but we need a lot more work in this area. If you want to get in on the ground floor of something and really invent something or work with something that's really important, you know, help us develop new machinery to harvest and process hemp, because the stalk grows very tall, 10 to 12 feet tall, and the hemp fibers, there's this long fiber that runs along the outside of the stalk, the bast fiber. It runs the entire length of the stalk, so that's the tensile strength of the hemp fiber is very, very strong, but it also makes it hard to process, makes it hard to chop up, to harvest, and to separate the herds, the inner part of the stalk, from the fiber. But it's also a great characteristic, so we need to understand that. We need better machinery. So if you feel like developing a new machine, go for it. Now, everybody has got to take environmental classes. We all want to be green and everything, which is awesome. Well, hemp is just the best plant out there for green stuff. I mean, it does so much stuff. And I've got a lot of these samples here. But hemp plastic, biodegradable plastic, is one of the new things that you can make out of the cellulose in the hemp stalk. So that's just tremendous. You could study, you know, how different ways to make hemp plastic, or different uses of it. There's a lot of different things that we can look into. The fuel aspect, everybody knows about corn and making ethanol and fuel out of corn, but you can make several types of fuel out of hemp. The hemp seed oil is great for biodiesel, so that would be good for all the diesel engines and a lot of the furnaces up here. The cellulose in the stalk, you can make ethanol out of that. And then you can also crush or compress the inner herds of the stalk into wood pellets for wood burning stoves. So we could study that. And also, hemp grows thousands of pounds, or it produces thousands of pounds of biomass per acre. So you can make biomass fuel from that. So do a calculation and determine how much fuel can you make, and compare that to corn, and we can convince people that we should be growing hemp and not using corn for this. Tree-free paper, we want to stop deforestation. Well, hemp is tremendous for tree-free paper, and a government study in 1916, so that's almost 100 years ago, proved that you can make 4 times as much paper from an acre of hemp than you can from an acre of trees. But we need to, you know, revise that study. We need to update it with current technologies and current types of hemp species and different types of, you know, compare that to the way they make paper now and redo that study. So there's a lot of work we can do in that. And now a lot of companies are starting to use hemp seed oil in their paints again. So like they used to make paints out of hemp seed oil, now they're doing it again because it's green, it's better for the environment, and it makes really good paint. You could study the fact that hemp uses a lot less herbicides. When they plant hemp, it grows very tall and grows straight up, and it blocks out all the weeds. So you don't have to spray a lot of poisonous herbicides on the land. But we could document that and see how much better hemp is for the environment as opposed to other crops. Henry Ford, back in the 40s, a little bit ahead of his time, I'd say, but he produced a car built out of hemp and other different crop plants, and that's him testing it with a sledgehammer, testing the fender of that plant-based car. Now we're coming up now, the Kestrel in Canada, they're actually developing this car. They're going to produce about 2,000 of them next year, and those are hemp composite panels. The entire outside of this car is made out of hemp, so it's just awesome. And a lot of car companies, VW and BMW, are using hemp in their car parts now because they want to be green, they want to produce all these recyclable cars, and they're actually doing, using hemp parts for their cars. So you could study that and look and see how, we can make better cars, stronger cars. It's much more better for the environment. And hemp also has this tremendous characteristic called phytoremediation. It draws toxins out of the soil and stores it in the seeds. So after the Chernobyl accident in the 80s over in the Ukraine, they planted hemp all around this nuclear plant, and it helped detoxify the soil, and it's a really amazing thing. So we could see what hemp could be used for in different aspects in America, or even in Japan where they had the recent nuclear accident. So architecture, if we have any architecture, design students, anybody that's in the construction industry even, you can build an entire house out of hemp. It's amazing, and I've got a sample of hemp concrete over there. If you take the inside of the stalk, the herds, mix it with lime and water, it creates this hemp concrete. It's breathable, it absorbs moisture when it's wet out, it lets it out when it's dry, so it keeps a very constant temperature, it sequesters the carbon dioxide. Concrete is one of the biggest producers of carbon dioxide on the global level. All the concrete that we use, it takes a lot of energy to make this, but hemp is a lot better for the environment. For that, it takes a lot less, and it sequesters the CO2, so we need to study that. And you can make hemp particle board, use the herds to make particle board that's stronger and more flexible than wood particle board, hemp insulation for the house, and you can also use, they're coming out with composite shingles, hemp composite shingles for the roof, and even on the inside you can have hemp carpet, hemp fabric for your draperies and your upholstery, and you can even heat your house with hemp seed oil biodiesel for your furnace, or hemp wood pellets for your wood burning stove. So boom, and it takes about 1 football field of hemp to grow enough hemp to build 1 house. So that's not a lot of hemp. So if you got a football field somewhere, you could grow enough for a house, if they would let you. So hemp is it's great building material, but it's also very healthy. It's just tremendously healthy. It's very high in essential fatty acids, the omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids that you hear about all the time on the news. It's very high in protein, high in fiber, vitamins, and it's got several key minerals. So it's just tremendously good for you. And also, you cannot fail a drug test by just eating hemp foods. There's no THC in hemp foods, so some people might have that question, but it's totally good for you. It's cholesterol-free. There are no known allergies to hemp foods, which is really amazing when you think about it. So many people are allergic to peanuts, to soy, or they're lactose intolerant, but there's no documented allergies to hemp. Why is that? We need to document that. We need to tout that. We need to let people know. We need to tell them this is a great food. It's very healthy, and it's very tasty, and there's so many great products out there now made out of hemp, and that's one thing that everybody can do. Even if you're not going to do a paper on hemp foods, you can buy hemp foods. It's all over the place. Whole Foods, Hannaford's, The Hempist, right down on Newberry Street in Harvard Square. Almost every health food store, there's hemp milk. We've got hemp ice cream. We're going to have great hemp ice cream tonight from Three Scoops ice cream place or restaurant in Brighton, which we really appreciate. So there's hemp protein bars, hemp protein powder, power bars, hemp nut butter. They came up with a way to take the hard shell off the hemp seed, so now it's just the inside hemp hearts or the hemp nut, which is really tasty. So go out and buy some hemp nut. There's just so many different hemp foods out there. And it's gluten-free too, so a lot of people can't eat wheat products because of the gluten. Not so with hemp. Dermatology and skincare. The oil is tremendous. The essential fatty acids and the amino acids in the oil act as emollients to help moisturize and heal your skin. So it's very good for different conditions like psoriasis. But we need more research in this. We need to understand this. We need to learn more, how good it is and let people know that. Or if it helps you with different things, talk about it, let other people know how good it is for you. There's a company with Hemp Ease now, has cannabis root salve, which is really good for muscle ailments and scrapes and burns and things like that. And we have Mary Hemster's lip balms, which we have some free samples out here tonight. as well as Dr. Bronner's. Dr. Bronner's uses hemp seed oil in a lot of their body care products, and they're very supportive of the hemp industry. They support different expos and trade shows. They donate a lot of money and time. So when you buy Dr. Bronner's, you're helping yourself, you're helping the environment, and you're helping the hemp industry. So help out. So we got all these products, you got all these things. Now it's up to you all to invent something, to invent a product or to start a company, make $1 billion, invent hemp water. If we can invent something that tastes like water but has all the nutrients of hemp, I think that would really work. Or just, there's all different types of things that you can do. And we are on the ground floor. If you ever wanted to be on the ground floor of anything, I mean, this is it. The hemp industry is so small. Last year, they sold about $300 million in America of hemp food products. So $300 million, that's not a lot when you consider the trillions of dollars that are being spent in this country. So there's a huge amount of room for growth if you can come up with a good idea or a good product. But we have to remember, we're in a war now. And unfortunately, this is the drug war. There's a lot of reasons why hemp products are so expensive, but we are in a war. So if you're going to start a company or if you're going to invent a product, remember that it's going to be very difficult because the odds are stacked against us. We can't grow hemp in America, so the prices are going to be high. They put up a lot of roadblocks, so keep that in mind. If we have any entrepreneurs that want to put on a Broadway musical, the Catlin County Hemp Wars, there's a couple in Cambridge. They wrote this great musical, and it's a great story about a family that tries to save their farm by growing hemp. And so if you want to put this on, the composer will come and work with you to put this on. And it can only be 2 or 3 people, or you can have 10 or 15 if you want to do a full production. But even if you want to do a small-scale production, she'll come and help you, with the lyrics and everything. So it's a great story. So if you have any interest in that, let me know. And there's KC, yay! How's it going? So the economics of hemp. This is something, economics is a very difficult subject. It can be sort of dry and boring. Well, let's study the economics of hemp. How can we make it so that our farmers can grow hemp? And one problem, which I call a catch 422, is that farmers won't grow hemp. Farmers won't grow a crop unless there's a market for that crop, unless there's a product. But if we can't produce products, it's hard to convince them to grow this hemp. So it creates this boundary for them. But we need to understand that. We need to understand the economies of scale. Last year in Canada, they grew about 20,000 acres of hemp in Canada, while they grow 200 million acres of corn, wheat, soy, and cotton in America. So the unit price for all these hemp products is much higher. The economies of scale haven't kicked in yet. But we need to understand that. We need to document how much would the price of hemp products, how much would they go down if we were growing, say, 1 million acres of hemp or 2 million acres of hemp. We need to understand that better. We need to look at the multiplier effect, which I think could help revitalize rural America. Because you can make concrete, you can make building materials, you can make food, and you can make fuel out of cannabis, and you can make medicine. So if you can make those 4 things, if we kept let farmers grow the crop, if they keep it there and process it and turn it into products there that they sell locally, that money keeps getting spent over and over again locally, and it creates a multiplier effect, and the net effect is much larger. And we could help revitalize rural America, but we need to document how much money could be saved. So that was a lot of different things about hemp. Now we're going to start talking about a lot of different areas, because with the cannabis curriculum, it's industrial hemp is a big part of it, but the medical marijuana, the therapeutic value and uses of cannabis are huge. And so one of the things is the fact that you can do so many things. Cannabis has been used for thousands of years. It's a very safe and effective medicine. It's just tremendous. And it's very good for nausea, for spasms, for people with MS. But it's also showing a lot of promise for treating cancer and also for bone fractures. They're showing that it helps heal bone fractures faster. And it's also showing a lot of promise with people with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's as people get older and as our society gets older. Not you guys. Y'all are going to stay the same age. But so we need to understand this. One researcher calls cannabis a synergistic shotgun because it treats so many different symptoms and it works in such a safe way. We need to understand that. A lot of people say, well, you can't smoke your medicine. Smoking marijuana is just, that's not how you take your medicine. And although for some people it is a perfectly fine way to take your medicine, but there's a lot of other delivery systems. You can vaporize cannabis. You don't have to smoke it. So that heats it up just to the temperature right before it starts burning, but that's a great way to do it, and that's a volcano vaporizer. Or you can make it into a medible. You can eat it or drink it, which a lot of people find that helps their symptoms better. And you can also use it as a salve or an ointment to apply topically. But we need more research. What delivery system works best for what ailment? We need to document that. We need to let people know, hey, it's a great medicine, it's super safe. And that's another thing we need to look at, that there's no documented lethal dose of cannabis, which is just amazing when you consider how many people, unfortunately, drink themselves to death or overdose on prescription narcotics and pharmaceuticals, which they just came out with a study that said over-the-counter or prescription drugs kill just thousands of people a year. It's really sad. But we need to show that cannabis is a much safer, yes, 10 minutes, okay, perfect. Starting to wave. So we need to show that it's a lot of people, it's improving the quality of life for a lot of people, because if you have cancer or if you have really bad pain, they prescribe these really strong drugs for you. I mean, they just really knock you out. Just they can be good for you, but they're very strong. A lot of people are finding out they smoke a little bit of cannabis, 2 or 3 puffs, and they can start reducing the number of pain medications and other pharmaceuticals they're taking. So we need to document that. We need to show how cannabis helps increase the quality of life of patients. We need to look at the reverse gateway theory. Some people say that cannabis, that marijuana is going to put you on a slippery slope to addiction. It's a gateway drug. And I agree, it is a gateway drug. But it's proving to be a gateway away from alcohol, a gateway away from tobacco, and a gateway away from narcotics and other debilitating pharmaceuticals. It's amazing. Studies have come out to prove this, but we need more research in this area, how it's really a gateway drug, and we can reduce a lot of the use of those drugs if we do use more cannabis. Post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of our veterans have this, especially coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq recently. And we need to work with our veterans and our Veterans Administration to make sure they have access to this medicine. And they're starting to allow veterans to smoke cannabis, but they're still discriminating against them a lot. So we really need a lot of work in this area. We also need to look at the psychology that a lot of people self-medicate and they don't even realize it. They may have depression, anxiety, ADHD. They take a few puffs of cannabis in the morning, they go to work, go to school, no problem. It's just like a cup of coffee to them. So we need to understand that, how people are using this to self-medicate. We need to look at the economics of prohibition. We need to understand, document how much drug companies are spending. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year developing all these pharmaceuticals that have a laundry list of side effects. If you've seen the commercials for Abilify lately, it's just incredible, all these side effects. While cannabis you can grow in your backyard or in a closet. So it's so much less expensive, it costs so much less. How much could be saved as a society if we just used cannabis instead of all these narcotics and pharmaceuticals? We need to document the expense of the custody industry. How much does it cost? How much do we waste arresting, convicting, incarcerating, putting on probation, and drug testing thousands and thousands of Americans every year? Just billions of dollars have been wasted, and Jeffrey Myron has done some research in this area, but we need more work. We need more people to look into this. We need to look at it. Another catch 422 is in California. The dispensary industry is really booming. They're just going crazy out there. But now the IRS has a new rule that says dispensaries cannot deduct business expense. Why? Because the business they're in is illegal. And it's like, oh, okay. So they're just trying to put up all these roadblocks to the medical industry, medical marijuana industry, but it's not going to work. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to recognize these roadblocks and work through them. We need to fight for our rights to have our medicine in the workplace. There's a worker in Michigan for Walmart. He was a registered medical marijuana patient. He hurt his knee. He They made him take a drug test. He failed it. He got fired, and the court sided with Walmart, of course. But that's in the federal. That's being appealed right now. But we need to fight for the the rights of the workers to make sure they're not discriminated against. We need to look at the asymptotic relationship between usage and impairment. If you don't smoke like once a month or so, you get really, really high. It's like a cheap date. But if you smoke all the time, you become less impaired. So we need to document that, because especially as it relates to drivers, they're trying to put new regulations and new laws that if you have 5 nanograms per milliliter of THC in your bloodstream, you're impaired, or you're under the influence, when we know that's not true. So we need to understand that, and we need to work in that area. If we have any political science majors, we need to look at the different, compare and contrast different cultures. Why is it that you can go to Holland, you can go to Amsterdam, walk into any number of coffee shops and buy high-grade, high-quality marijuana or hashish, sit down and smoke it in a perfectly safe, quiet environment? It's just tremendous. Why can you do that? And then, if you're in China, you can be executed for drug trafficking. It's just amazing. But we need to understand the different political cultures, and understand why it is between countries, or even in America between different states. Why is California so liberal and Texas is so conservative? Or even within California, you have San Diego sort of conservative, but then San Fran and LA are, liberal. If we have any people that want to do some women's and gender studies, look at Reefer Madness, look and see how women were objectified and shown that if you smoke marijuana, all these bad things are going to happen to you. But then in World War II, we needed women to work in the hemp mills to process all this hemp fiber that we were growing for the war. And now we have a lot of really strong women in the reform movement, and we need to, show how they can help change in prohibition and to work together. Sociology, is there going to be a watershed event or a tipping point? Is America going to have an aha moment where they just go, bang, prohibition's wrong? Or is it going to be a billion baby steps where we just move incrementally forward as a society? Like Prop 19 last year in California to legalize marijuana did not pass, but it raised the discussion to a national and global level, so it was a huge baby step forward. A lot of states have passed medical marijuana laws. Those are baby steps. We're doing it in hemp. So, and one thing, everybody, you can't do everything. One person can't do everything, but everybody can do something. So if everybody does a little bit, then we're gonna move forward. Communication, this is another thing everybody can do. We can, write for your school newspaper, go on your school radio program, talk about hemp, talk about medical marijuana, talk about the drug war. Come out of the cannabis closet, draw the parallels to the cannabis, the stigma attached to cannabis users, to the gay and lesbian community, and how they've been fighting for their rights. We need to fight for our rights. We need to talk about it. We need to be proud. We need to open the debate. We need to let the media, we need to tell the media, because they're not going to talk about prohibition. The Boston Globe, New York Times don't write about prohibition. We need to let them make sure they know that concept and that cannabis should be legalized. And if we have any computer science majors, you can help me develop the Cannabis Curriculum Clearinghouse, which would be great. And the answer to almost every question, why are they arresting 700,000 Americans a year? Why can't patients get their medicine? Why can't farmers grow hemp? It's the prohibition, stupid. That is the reason. And we need to drive that word home. Prohibition is what we really need to know. In the cannabis conundrum, we need to get everybody to work together. This is why, we have all these different groups. If we can get everybody to work together, it seems right now we're all pulling apart. Hemp farmers are very conservative, so they want their hemp, but they don't necessarily want medical, and they don't want it legalized. Then we have medical groups that, they want medicine, but they may not want legalization. And then even within the activist community, we have a lot of infighting, unfortunately, between groups and within groups. And even in California last year with Prop 19, there were a lot of cannabis people that voted no on that for different reasons in the bill. It was just very sad. But we need to start working together. We need to get parents and politicians to stop being hypocrites and to come out and say that prohibition is a bad thing. And of course, it's hard for teachers and professionals to come out of the closet because they don't want to get drug tested. They don't want to perhaps lose their job or lose custody of their children. So we need to understand that. We need to get everybody to start working together so that we can answer the question. Or hemp is the answer. but I'm not sure what the question is. This is us. This is the Hemp Industries Association. In 1999, we were up in a hemp field in Canada, and so it was a beautiful thing. And hopefully one day soon we'll be growing hemp in America too. So thank you for your time, and I'll answer questions now or maybe later, and then we'll have ice cream. Woo!